Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Today we're going to be throwing a little piece together for you using some leftover twisty canes that I had from a previous project a few weeks ago. So go ahead and grab something to drink, grab a little snack, and let's head to the studio. We'll get started. So personally in my work lately, we've been doing a lot of these cane roll-ups. I really enjoy doing them. It's fun to make the cane, it's fun to roll them up, and you get something different every single time. So I really enjoyed doing this a lot lately. But we're going to put these canes on this little ceramic shelf, and this thing's been preheated a little bit, so it's pretty warm. We want to warm these canes up before we plunge them into our glory hole, which is about 2,000 degrees. So they're going to warm up a little bit. We'll take a quick measurement of how long it is, and then we'll be able to start heating them up and get them molten.
Yeah, this thing's crazy. It's so hot. Got the new torch. No, it'll be fine. Just overheat them. Just get them hotter than you think you need to.
So now that the canes have started to warm up a little bit, we're going to put them in the glory hole and start to fuse them together. We can't heat them up too much, but we need to get them pretty hot so that they can all fuse together and create kind of like a solid plate. So you'll see here, now that they've gotten a little warm, my brother's going to use these tweezers, and he's going to kind of push them together to make sure that they all are at least tacked together, and then we'll incrementally start to heat them up so that they fuse together. So while Luke is taking care of that, I'm going to go ahead and make a collar. So I've got a blowpipe in my hand, and I'm going to get a little bit of glass on the tip of my pipe. I'll blow a bubble through it, and then we'll get a little ring of glass on the tip that I can use to roll that plate up around my blowpipe so I get a cylinder of the patterns.
Spotify, you know about that? Yeah, they started a jam. So if you have Spotify, you can add stuff to it.
Yeah, I used to come in here and try
I'll throw my bubble.
Jam when you're in courier work.
Yeah. Sweet.
Okay, so while that glass is nice and hot, I have a small amount of time where I can manipulate it before it really starts to cool down. So I'm going to try to shape it and try to make sure that it has the right circumference so that we can roll that plate up around it and it'd be a perfect little cylinder.
All right, I'll take a heat. Oh, I bet it was. They have a good time.
Okay, so we got our sizing right, and now we're just kind of coordinating to make sure that the plate and the canes on there are the right temperature and that my collar is the right temperature so that we can roll it up.
Sweet. That's the way. Looking good.
All right, so that went great. There's a little gap left, so now I'm going to use my tweezers to really line that up and make sure it's nice and symmetrical on each side. And then I'm going to take a small little brush here in a second, and I'm going to brush off all of the kiln wash, which is kind of like a residue that we put on that ceramic shelf so the glass doesn't stick to it. So we'll get rid of that, and then we're off to the races. We can start to blow it up.
Sweet.
Once we have the canes rolled up on the blowpipe, they all have these individual arcs on top of them. So what I'm going to have to do is try to eliminate all of those. I want it to be nice and smooth on the outside because the plan a little bit later in the process is we're going to add another layer of clear glass. And when we do that, I want my base to be nice and smooth so that I don't pick up any bubbles in between all those little ridges and everything. So part of the process that we're going through right now is smoothing. And then in a minute or two, I'm actually going to close it off with my jacks, the tool in my hand right now, so that it encapsulates the inside into a nice little bubble.
Ah, so many bumps. All right, sweet. All right, just hit the marker again. All right, sweet. And we'll just cut it off on the next one. save this. I said I'll just set up music in a second.
So a lot of people ask us what we do with these little ends from the cutoffs, and I save them. We actually make pieces out of them, or we can turn them into marbles. You can do a lot of different stuff with them, but I like to keep them, and then we can melt them back together and make a piece out of them in the future.
Fireball. From. Okay. I'm a country boy. You can blow. Off. Thank you. I'm a country boy. It's pretty. Can you see those canes?
So now that it's nice and smooth on the outside, we can get our new layer of glass, which is called gathering. So I'm going to stick my glass into the furnace, just like when I made the collar, and we're going to encapsulate this thing in a layer of clear glass. And for anyone who doesn't know, this is our furnace. It stays on 24/7, and it's about 2,000 degrees on the inside. It holds about 700 pounds of clear glass. And this is what's known as a strip gather. So I get my glass, I go vertical, and then I can strip off any excess glass that I don't need.
Heavy strip.
So this is the first gather that we've added, but we actually want to add one more. So what we're going to do in a moment is just inflate it a little bit. We'll smooth out that new layer of glass that we got, and we're actually going to go back into the furnace to get one more layer of glass.
I think I should have blown it up more so that it was more hollow on the inside before I hit the mold, because it was a small bubble.
I think I just twist.
Coming up. Yeah, it's a lot of glass. Picked up a big bubble. That was?
That little line.
Oh, I didn't see it.
It kind of looked cool how it melted right there.
Yeah.
So sometimes whenever we do those strip gathers, it leaves a little button on the end. So I'm just getting rid of that. It happened on the last gather, it happened on this one, and it just happens sometimes, so we just kind of cut it off. But now we have all the glass that we're going to need to make our piece. So from here on, we're just kind of turning it into a bowl. So we'll start to inflate it and start to shape it up.
Baby, make it hurt so good.
So when we start the inflating process, I like to use this newspaper tool. It's about 12 sheets of newspaper folded up and soaked in water, and it really helps me manipulate the bubble as my brother Luke starts to inflate it.
Off. Fresh paper. I didn't select. It's a bowl. Yeah. All right, Luke, blow. Off. Blow again. Off. Okay, we'll jack line here in a second. It looks pretty though. Yeah, like right?
Now that we've inflated it a good bit, it's time to put in our jack line. So I'm going to take my large tweezer tools right here, these are known as the jacks, and I'm going to put a small incision right off the tip of the pipe. A little bit later in the process, we're going to have to transfer this piece to a different pipe, and I'm basically deciding where I want the glass to break. I'm making a small incision, and this area is going to get colder faster than the rest of the piece, so that later, once we tag on the new pipe, I can give this blowpipe a little tap, and it'll break right there. So we're basically deciding where we want to break the piece off later in the process.
Logan. All right, off. Sweet. A little thin on the bottom, but that's okay. Lightly on. Off.
So now that we have the piece nice and inflated, it's time to add a bottom to the piece. So I've got my blow hose hooked up. It's a little rubber tube that feeds from my mouth to the blowpipe so that I can inflate it as I push in with my wooden paddle. So I'm going to go over this a few times and try to make sure that we have a nice bottom on it before we add that second pipe and move into the transfer.
Yes, sir. I think I am ready for a punty.
So now it's time to prep for that transfer that I was talking about before. So my brother has a new rod. This is called a punty rod. It's a solid pipe. And basically he's going to get a little bit of glass on the tip that'll kind of work as a little piece of glue. We'll tag it onto the bottom of the piece. We'll break it off of my blowpipe, and then we'll have it flipped over with the hole at the top where the bubble entered the piece in the beginning. That'll be exposed at the top. I can use my tools to then open the piece to its final kind of size.
The punty! We'll go pretty quick. All right, feel good? Good, good. All right, ready? And we're off.
Alright, so that transfer went really well. Sometimes those can go a little haywire if things are too cold or even too hot in certain places, but that went really well. So now we're flattening the lip, and here in just a moment we're actually going to add a little pink lip wrap to it. So you'll see in a moment my brother's going to gather a new little bit of glass, add some pink color to it, and then we'll wrap it around the lip so it has a nice pink little lip wrap on it.
Walked a lot of pain down in New Orleans, but I never saw the good side of the city till I hits the ride on the riverboat queen. Big wheels keep on burning, brown mare keep on burning, rolling, rolling, rolling on the river. And Really point it up. I'm probably not gonna use a lot of that. Trying to keep it on center. Coming in. Mess that up. Not my finest lip wrap.
Alright, so that didn't go on exactly how I imagined, but it's fine. It'll stretch out and end up looking good in the end. These lip wraps are something I've avoided in my early work, and I haven't really become the best at applying them yet, but I'm trying to practice them as much as I can. So that went better than it could have gone, but it still wasn't the best. There's always ways to improve. Alright, so with the lip wrap on, all we have to do is open this up into a nice wide bowl. So I'm going to use a tool called the Parchofis. They're basically a pair of wooden jacks that are soaked in water, and they really help to round out all the edges. Bowls can be a difficult kind of shape to move and to create because you have to move it from the backwards to the front, which is kind of contradictory. Usually the hottest part of the piece is going to be the tip. You can see how the lip is really glowing right there. So it's difficult to move the back to the front without getting the front too hot.
On in a second, there's a little bead of water rolling around in the bottom. You see it?
Bowls have become one of my favorite things to make in the studio. And I think part of that is because they're so difficult. Whenever I started blowing glass, I really wanted to challenge myself to really push forward and try to like kind of tackle a really hard concept so that it could become a little bit easier in the future. And through doing that, you know, I've learned a lot about glass blowing and how the glass moves and everything like that. So tackling bowls and kind of going head on, I think was a really good move personally for me because it taught me so much. You know, through the process of really trying to get a good bowl made, I learned so many steps along the way that have really helped me make a lot of other things as well. So that's something that I try to keep with me as I progress is kind of just like don't shy away from the difficult stuff. You know, you might as well just go for the hard one and you'll learn so much in the process.
I think it's like wood or something.
I'm pulling it off the front.
So there's like 20 guys on it or something.
Dang.
It's like a big project. He was that guy I was running with.
Oh, really? I don't need that other door. Yeah, lip wrap came out really good. But the rest of it, glory days.
Not to be weird.
All right, we're getting there. I'm gonna have you.
It's super cozy.
It's like I almost want to just spin it out. It's Come on. Get out of it.
Alright, so now that the bowl is basically done, the last thing we have to do is remove it from the pipe and transfer it to one of our annealers so that it can cool down. So what we're going to do here in a moment is I'm going to add a little bit of water to our connection point, and then I'll lift the pipe up. My brother's going to grab it in his Kevlar gloves, and then we'll be able to transport it to our annealer so that it can cool overnight.
Sometimes when you're alone, all you do is think. Yeah, I think all the time, John Bon Jovi. Alright. One more. Alright, ready? Got it? Okay, go for it. Yeah, you got it, you got it. Go, woo! Yeah!
Alright, and here's the final product. I'm really happy with how it came out. The twisted canes, they always give it such a cool kind of look. So many lines, it's hard to almost even track where they go. I'm really happy with it. And the lip wrap came out awesome too. This bowl was one of my favorite ones we've done recently. So guys, as usual, we sell these pieces. You can find them on our website if you want to take a look. The link is in the description box down below. You can check out our Etsy page or my personal website. It'll be available on both of the websites. And thanks for hanging out with us today. We've got some really cool stuff coming up in the future, so make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. But be safe out there, y'all. We'll catch you in the next one.